Beneath the Gulf of Mexico, beyond the beaches, fishing boats, and oil platforms, cameras have captured things that were never expected to be there. A deadly light hidden on the ocean floor, creatures rarely seen alive, unexplained lights beneath the water, and enormous shapes appearing dangerously close to the coastline. The Gulf is crossed by thousands of vessels and surrounded by some of the most populated coastal cities in North America. Yet, strange things continue to appear beneath its waters, above its surface and along its shores, often in places where no one expected to find them. Some of what follows has been documented by scientists and military crews. Other footage was recorded only once, leaving behind images that continue to divide those who have seen them. These are some of the most disturbing things ever caught on camera in the Gulf of Mexico. The underwater lake of despair. Deep beneath the Gulf of Mexico, nearly 3,300 feet below the surface, cameras captured something that looks almost impossible. A lake resting at the bottom of the ocean. It has a visible shoreline, gentle waves, and a surface completely separate from the seawater surrounding it. But, despite its calm appearance, entering this pool can be fatal for most marine animals. Known as the hot tub of despair, this strange pool measures approximately 100 feet around and reaches nearly 12 feet deep. Its water is several times saltier and far denser than the surrounding ocean, preventing the two from mixing. This allows the brine to remain trapped on the seafloor like a lake within another body of water. The pool also contains very little oxygen and high concentrations of chemicals associated with natural methane seeps. Fish, crabs, and other animals that accidentally cross its edge can quickly become disoriented and die inside it. Cameras have even recorded lifeless creatures lying along the bottom, making the pool look almost like an underwater graveyard. Yet somehow, the area is not completely devoid of life. Specialized mussels, tube worms, and microorganisms have adapted to survive around its edges, using chemicals released from beneath the seafloor as a source of energy. Researchers study environments like this because the organisms living there may offer clues about how life could survive in similarly hostile conditions beyond Earth. It looks like a lake from another planet, but it has been hidden beneath the Gulf of Mexico all along. The light beneath the Gulf. In 2024, a strange video began circulating online, reportedly recorded from a research vessel somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. The footage shows an intense blue light glowing beneath the water, despite no visible boat, buoy, or structure appearing directly above it. According to the person who shared the story, the crew had been studying marine bioluminescence when they first noticed the glow approximately a quarter of a mile behind the vessel. Believing it could be coming from a sunken object or a navigation buoy, they reportedly turned the ship around and moved directly above it. But even from that position, the source of the light could not be seen. The water in the area was said to be only around 60 feet deep, and the glow appeared to remain completely stationary beneath the vessel. Some viewers believe it may have been an unidentified submerged object. Others suggest more conventional explanations, such as an underwater fishing light or the powerful floodlights of a remotely operated vehicle. Both could produce intense illumination beneath the surface. However, neither explanation fully reveals what was generating the light in this particular footage. Whatever its source was, it remained hidden beneath the water, producing a glow so powerful that it illuminated the darkness of the Gulf from below. Surrounded by sharks. Approximately 15 miles off the coast of Venice, Louisiana, a group of fishermen encountered a disturbing scene in the northern Gulf of Mexico. Dylan May, Caitlin Dix, and several friends were searching for yellowfin tuna when they noticed the surface of the ocean violently churning in the distance. At first, they believed they had found what fishermen call a tuna boil, a feeding event in which large fish force smaller prey toward the surface. But when the boat moved closer, they discovered that the disturbance was being caused by dozens of sharks. The animals had surrounded a massive school of smaller fish and entered an intense feeding frenzy, striking the surface with enough force to send water pouring into the boat from every direction. Some of the trapped fish attempted to hide beneath the vessel, drawing the sharks even closer to the people on board. Dylan later stated that he had never witnessed anything like it. Although the sharks appeared to be focused entirely on the school of fish, the footage shows how quickly an ordinary fishing trip can become something far more unsettling in the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico. The Campeche Lights. On March 5, 2004, a Mexican Air Force surveillance aircraft was conducting a routine operation near the Gulf of Mexico when its infrared camera detected something the crew could not immediately explain. Appearing in the distance were several bright objects invisible to the naked eye, but clearly visible through the aircraft's thermal equipment. At first, only a few lights could be seen, but as the recording continued, more began appearing until the crew counted a total of 11. The objects seemed to maintain their positions relative to one another, creating the impression that they were moving together in formation. The crew also reported several radar contacts during the incident. When the aircraft changed direction in an attempt to follow them, lights remained visible on the infrared screen. The footage was later released to the public and became known as the Campeche UFO incident. Because the recording came directly from a Mexican military aircraft, the case immediately attracted international attention. Researchers proposed several possible explanations, ranging from distant aircraft to natural phenomena and sources of heat located near the Gulf. However, the footage continued to divide investigators, particularly because of the number of lights, their apparent formation, and the radar contacts reported by the crew. More than 2 decades later, the recording remains one of Mexico's most widely discussed military UFO encounters. Whatever appeared on that infrared screen, the crew counted 11 unidentified lights moving together above the Gulf of Mexico. The giant squid. In June of 2019, a team of researchers exploring the deep waters of the Gulf of Mexico captured a creature that, for centuries, had inspired stories of enormous monsters hiding beneath the ocean. Approximately 100 miles southeast of New Orleans, an underwater camera was positioned nearly 2,500 feet below the surface. For several deployments, it recorded little more than shrimp and other small animals moving through the darkness. But while reviewing the footage, the researchers noticed a large shape slowly emerging from the corner of the screen. At first, only its long body could be seen. Then the creature suddenly extended its enormous tentacles toward a glowing lure placed in front of the camera. It was a giant squid. The animal was estimated to measure between 10 and 12 feet long and was believed to be a young specimen. After striking the lure, it quickly realized that it was not real prey and disappeared back into the darkness. Until that moment, thousands of underwater expeditions had explored the Gulf without ever filming one of these creatures alive. The recording became only the second time a giant squid had ever been filmed alive in its natural habitat. What made the discovery even more unsettling was its location. This creature was not found in some distant, unexplored ocean. It had been living just 100 miles from one of the largest cities along the Gulf Coast, hidden beneath waters crossed by ships every day. And if a creature this large could remain hidden for so long, there is no telling what else may be moving through the deeper parts of the Gulf. The mysterious red creature. On April 17, 2018, researchers exploring the western Gulf of Mexico encountered a strange creature nearly 2,800 feet beneath the surface. At first, it appeared to be nothing more than a dark red mass drifting above the seafloor. But as the camera moved closer, the creature turned and revealed that it was some type of squid, although even the experts observing the expedition struggled to identify it. The animal appeared to have suffered serious injuries. Its two long feeding tentacles were missing, along with parts of several other limbs, making its appearance even more difficult to recognize. Researchers believed it could have been a rare species known as Discutatus discus, previously known only from incomplete specimens recovered in fishing nets. If that identification was correct, this may have been the first time the species had ever been observed alive. But because the creature was never captured, its exact identity could not be confirmed, leaving researchers with only the brief footage of a squid they had never encountered before. The objects no one wanted to touch. In 2024, people walking along a beach in Coatzacoalcos, Mexico, discovered a strange object lying near the water. The figure measured approximately 1.5 feet and appeared to resemble an object made for some type of ritual or spell. No one knew who had left it there or how long it had remained on the beach. And according to local reports, none of the people who found it wanted to move it. But this way was not the only unsettling object discovered along the Gulf Coast. Hundreds of miles away, near Corpus Christi, Texas, researchers have recorded 8 sealed containers since 2017 that have become known as witch bottles. These bottles come from an old tradition in which containers were filled with objects believed to repel curses, trap harmful spirits, or protect their owners from evil. They may contain herbs, hair, fingernails, bodily fluids, pins, or other personal objects. But the bottles found in Texas remained sealed, leaving their actual contents unknown. Some were covered in barnacles, suggesting they had spent a considerable amount of time drifting through the Gulf before finally washing ashore. Even the researcher who collected them refused to open them. There is no evidence that the figure found in Mexico and the bottles discovered in Texas were connected. But for some reason, objects associated with rituals continue appearing along different shores of the same body of water. Perhaps the currents simply carried them there. Or perhaps someone deliberately threw them into the Gulf, hoping that whatever had been placed inside will never return. The giant creature seen on Google Earth. In July of 2023, a user exploring the coast of Tamaulipas, Mexico, through Google Earth noticed a disturbing shape in the waters near Miramar Beach. The object appears surprisingly close to the shoreline and to one of the most visited coastal areas near Tampico. From above, it seemed to have an elongated body surrounded by several large extensions, leading some viewers to believe that the image showed an enormous squid beneath the water. but its estimated size made that possibility even more unsettling. Using Google's measuring tool, the shape appeared to stretch approximately 130 feet from one end to the other. For comparison, the largest giant squid scientifically recorded measured around 43 feet, meaning the object in this image appeared to be nearly 3 times longer. Some suggested that it could be submerged debris, rocks, or a distortion in the satellite image, but no explanation was ever officially confirmed. And whatever created that enormous shape, it appeared to be resting just off the coast of one of Tamaulipas' most popular beaches.